Hello everyone, Sayedi here. Okay, so I wanted to make this video about the natural process of awakening, or awakening naturally. Okay, so one of the reasons why I made this video is because I feel like for those that feel drawn to spirituality or metaphysics, and they hear about the ascension process and the process of enlightenment, awakening, whatever, I feel like there tends to be, I feel like there's a tendency to want to force that process, or there's a tendency to want to do certain things that force the awakening. And I wanted to touch upon that because I feel like it's really important for those that are drawn to spirituality. It's something important to know, to keep in mind, and to address. Okay, so one thing I want to say to start the theme of this video is that when it comes to the process of spiritual awakening and spiritual growth, there is never anything that you need to force, okay? There's never anything that you need to manipulate in order to progress along your spiritual path, okay? The process of awakening is going to happen naturally. Now, I will admit that not everyone is meant to awaken in this lifetime, okay? Now, everyone has the potential to do that, but not everyone is meant to have an awareness of the spiritual world, of the higher realms, of angels, of goddesses, or all these things. Not everyone cares about that, and that's totally fine, you know? And that's a part of their personal process for those who don't care. And that's another thing that I want to say. Don't try to force people onto your, end of the spectrum. Everyone serves a purpose in this world, and I don't really see this happening often, but I feel like sometimes it does happen. I've seen it once or twice, and I want to touch upon it here, is that if there is someone that is not really interested in this sort of thing, or has their own religion or their religious beliefs, don't feel like it's your responsibility to try and convince them to be more aware of spirituality, okay? So it's vital that everyone honor their own personal process, their own personal path in this lifetime, and it may be to be engaged in religion, it serves them, or it may be to do whatever they're doing at the present moment. Allow people to have their own personal process, okay? And then you have yours. So respect everyone's journey, okay? Everyone serves a purpose in this world in their own way, okay? So let's wait for the truck to go by. But yes, I wanted to say that the process of awakening is something that's very natural, and it's going to happen in its own time. You never need to force anything. And as a matter of fact, I feel like when it comes to the timing in which someone awakens, I don't really feel like we control that. I feel like it happens at the time that is best for us, because I feel like on this journey of our lives, there are certain things that we need to experience first. There are certain things that we need to see first, to learn, before we go through that process of awakening. Okay? And if you don't know about my own process of awakening, you can watch my video, my Starseed Awakening story, or I forgot what I called it, but you can watch that. Okay? For some people, it happens earlier in life, and for some people, it happens later, and that's just how it's meant to be. So, I feel like it's important to understand your own process and your own life, and to appreciate wherever you are at any given point in time in your life, however you are. And it doesn't mean that you can't continue to grow and continue to blossom. But in order for you to get to the next step, you got to know where you are now, and you have to honor that. You can't judge that, okay? So you have to love yourself exactly where you are right now, okay? And fully be present in that, okay? So the issue with the people that may be drawn to the process, that feel like they have to force things, it can go two ways as well. You know, it can be for those that like want to force it, you know, they want to really, really engage, you know, and they really are trying to figure out what can I do to get to the next step. That's forcing it. And another way that you can force it is by resisting your own growth. Okay, so there's a natural process to your growth and your healing. And if you try to resist that, that's force too. That's manipulation. You're actually manipulating the process. You're trying to control it. That's another form of forcing something to happen or to not happen. Okay? So if you find yourself in either circumstance or any situation, it's not necessarily easy. I feel like as humans we try to control everything. I feel like that's something that we need to transcend. But try to allow yourself, give yourself permission to just relax and to just allow yourself to be wherever you're at. And at times it may be painful, but sometimes, you know, we try to resist pain. We don't want to feel it. But if we don't feel it, it actually comes back later, whether it be through, you know, if we don't express our anger about one situation and we get angry again, all the stuff that we've been angry about in the past is going to come out in that next situation. So don't think it's going away if you repress it, okay? So, you know, allow yourself to feel that anger, and if you allow yourself to feel it, it won't be able to control you, okay? It's when you repress things and you don't allow yourself to feel things authentically that it can navigate, you know, your path, and it can become your main focus. And it can determine a lot of your experiences because of what seems to be the focus. Even if you're not thinking about it, because it's such a strong energy, it actually has the ability to kind of like control your life, because it's still a focus, because it hasn't been acknowledged, so it's like screaming out for attention. Okay, so as I said in a past video, I tend to deviate a little bit, but I feel like that's just my heart and spirit kind of guiding me on what needs to be said and what needs to be discussed. Okay, so I have to kind of like regroup and get back to what I was trying to say initially. But so yeah, so there's the process of the awakening where you could resist, okay? And then getting back to where people may feel the need to force things, okay? And force, okay, really, what do I need to do to spiritually grow? What crystals do I need? You know, what meditation do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I really respect and honor that sense of commitment. But let's look at it from a different perspective, okay? When it comes to the process of spiritual growth, which is natural, when we try to force things and we try to push things, we have to ask ourselves, where is that coming from? What is the origin of us trying to push something, of us trying to force something? A lot of times when we're trying to push or force something, it is because there's something that we're afraid of. Okay, so, excuse me, air in my chest. So if we're trying to push and force something, we might actually be afraid that we're not going to get it. We actually might be, we might be doing that out of fear that what we want actually won't come to us, okay? And if we operate out of fear, and we operate out of, like, you know, manipulation, we're actually pushing away and moving away from what it is that we want. Because fear is not a match to love. We can't have both operating at the same time, okay? So we have to give ourselves permission to just relax, to be in the moment, to not succumb to the high levels of control and the fear that we won't get what we desire. What we need to remember is that what we desire, we actually deserve. Okay, so that's something to look into as well. Is what I want something that I feel that I deserve? And if you can answer honestly, and the answer is no, you don't feel like you deserve it, then you have to actually reflect and see, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like you don't deserve what it is that you're asking for? Okay, so that's something to reflect upon as well. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of these calls that are I'm sorry, I'm trying to film this video. I'm getting a call from what looks like a person that's actually not a person but a robot. So, anyway. So, getting back to what I was saying is, and I kind of forgot. But I feel like it's important for us to just allow ourselves to relax into the process of spiritual growth and awakening. Okay? And there's something else I wanted to touch upon as well. Yeah, so I feel like it's really important to be honest. Okay, to be honest about where you're at. And if you're at like a stage in your life where you kind of want to take a break, allow yourself to take a break. You know, if you feel your like a sense of anger, or if you feel a sense of sadness, allow yourself to be sad. You know, it's okay. The thing that we don't want is we don't want those emotions and feelings to become stifled and restricted to the point where they start to bubble up, okay, and they get stronger and stronger to the point where now we're in a situation that actually feeds that anger, feeds that sadness, or feeds that fear. And the whole point of us getting into those situations, it's because the emotion that we're feeling wants attention. So because it wants attention so badly, it's almost like putting us in situations that will trigger us to pay attention to what it is that we're feeling, okay? So yes, allow yourself to just chill, relax into your process. One thing I wanted to say too, like just to give you guys an example, is when it comes to like, because I feel like it's important to have like a spiritual practice, like something that you do daily, whether it be prayer or affirmations, meditation, whatever you feel drawn to. But there may be times where you want to take a break from that because you might be getting too serious about your practice, okay? And if you're getting too serious about your practice, it won't benefit you as much as if you're just like relaxed and you follow your heart with it. So I know there were times where for me, like typically I try to meditate every day, or like let's say 4 or 5 days a week, because life gets busy and stuff. But there were times where I'm like, I don't really feel like meditating. So instead of meditating, I would spend time just sitting at my altar space and just sitting there, just kind of like reflecting, mainly because I felt guided to do so. And then there were other times where I just felt guided to listen to music. I just wanted to listen to music. For me, that was my way to connect to my soul, my higher self, or spirit, was through doing those things. Or dancing. I love to dance. So, and for me, that's my way of connecting to my soul as well. So don't think that spiritual practice has to be limited to what seems spiritual to the masses. It doesn't have to be meditation or going to pray or, whatever. It could be anything that feeds the soul, okay? It could be going out for a walk. It could be spending time reading a book. It could be spending time having fun with a friend. The thing that we have to remember is that all of this stuff is important for our spiritual growth. It's important for our experience on this planet. Life experience is part of the process. We have to experience life. And that's just as important as meditating, as using crystals and doing all these things that are stereotypically spiritual. We have to do things that make us feel joy and that help us feel happiness and help us to feel a sense of contentment and connection with ourselves. The whole point is to connect to ourselves, and through our sense of connection to ourselves, we connect to the divine more clearly. But just do what you like. Don't don't say, well, I'm going to connect to myself because if I connect to myself, I'm going to connect to the divine. Just connect to yourself just for the whole purpose of connecting to yourself, just to do it. Because it feels good to you. Just do it because that's what feels right. Do what feels right for you. Okay? So I think that was pretty much it. And I'm sorry for the slight interruption. It's just my phone's on vibrate and I didn't want it to keep vibrating through the video. So, yes, but I hope that video was helpful. Stick around because I'm going to be posting more videos in the future about topics that I'd like to speak upon. And also, if you would like a personal consultation or counseling or anything else that you may feel drawn to, or if you feel drawn to work with me in general, you can check for the links in the description box. And I hope to see you around soon. Take care.